This is Chris with Showground.com. Brilliant.
Brilliant. This is Trey the Choklit Jok from Power 92. Jump off.
Alright, so tell people how you got started. How'd you get started in radio?
I've always wanted to do radio. I think I'm one of the most, one of those people who are very lucky to be wanting to do what they want to do. Well, I'll give you a brief summary. I was 16 years old one day. I used to listen to Rick Party back in the day on GCI when he was on at night. And, well, first off, I used to always emulate Doug Banks. Doug Banks and Company back in the day, late 80s, early 90s. I would always say, I want to be like him. You know, I would always see him on TV as a celebrity. He'd host a Bud Billiken parade. He was just like a local celebrity. So I was like, man, I want to be like him. So I would always like do little radio shows in my room, play cassettes, you know. Before CDs, it was the tapes. I would rewind them and talk over the intro to the song like the DJ on the radio. So from there, I was just always, you know, practicing on the radio, and I called Rick Party one night on this thing he used to have called the flavor pager. And that would be like a little pager you call and you leave your message, and they'll call you back and they either give you a prize or something. So I left the message, and I told him that I was interested in being in radio and I wanted to come down to the radio station. He called me back that night. I ended up going down to the station, watching him do his whole show, and then they had this thing called the Coke Top 99 Countdown. And he let me introduce the song, number 9. And after that, he was like, man, you did so good. Here, introduce number 8, number 7. And after next thing I know, I was doing the whole countdown at 16 in high school. So after that, this was the summer of '96. I was invited to come down a few other times and do the same thing, host the Top 99 Countdown. So that's how that started. That was '96 and '97 when Rick left to go to Atlanta. They hired the Bad Boys, Mike Love and Diz. This was in January of '97. And when they got hired, they had a contest for high school sports reporter. And I won over like maybe 2,000–3,000 entries. I ended up winning. So here I am, 16, 17 years old in high school, and I'm on GCI. You know, every Monday night I had a segment called the High School Hype with the Choklit Jok, and it was just little sports. I talk about high school sports, Winnie Young, B. Marshall, blah blah blah. I didn't want to be in sports or become a sports reporter, but I figured, hell, it's on the radio. I could be on the radio. Let's do it. And it went from there. I ended up building a rapport with the Bad Boys, and they would let me do the same thing I did with Rick, come in and do the Top 99 Countdown. So I would just always be around the station because I wanted to be in radio, and I would just always take the bus. People would know my face and things. And it ended up, the morning show, Crazy Howard, they needed an associate producer. And I was already a student at Columbia College by this time. This was maybe a year later after the Bad Boys had been hired or whatever. They needed a morning show producer. And Alex Dupree, so funny, my co-host now, she was doing traffic on their show. And she was like, dude, they got a job open. Are you interested? Blah, blah, blah. And because I was already at the station and they knew me, it was pretty much easy. Oh, you, the Choklit Jok dude. Okay, let's put him on. That's when Elroy hired me to be Crazy Howard's associate producer. This was back in '99. From there, they had weekend positions open on GCI. I ended up being paired with a partner, Nike back in the day. This was on Saturdays and Sunday nights. We did 6 to 10 on GCI. And I'm just fast forwarding right now. Power 92, Jay Allen was the music director at GCI, and they started Power 92 here. So he came over here to be the program director. So he just brought, you know, us, the Choklit Joks, over here to Power 92. We began when the station started back in March of '01. I did nights for 2 years with the partner. After like May of '03, they renewed my contract and didn't renew his contract. I don't know if it was a money issue, a budget thing, or whatever happened, but they ended up keeping me, and they let him go. And here we are today, man. Like I said, I did 2 years of night solo, and from December of '05 till now, I'm doing morning. So, you know, living my lifelong dream, man.
So, how'd you get your name? Trey the Choklit Jok.
There was a guy, and I didn't tell you this, I went to Columbia, and they had this program called the High School Institute. So when you're in high school, you could actually take college courses. So when you're ready to go to college, you already got college credit. And I did that at Columbia. I took radio classes. And there was a radio station named, and it's still around, 88.1 WCRX. I used to come on every Wednesday night. But anyway, there was a guy who was on, his name was Kevin Morrow, the Jock. he was called the Jok because he played sports. He was a football athlete, and he was on the radio. He went to SIU. But he also, I don't know how he got at Columbia, but he was also at Columbia. In fact, if you look at the movie Barbershop, he was the guy chasing Ice Cube. He was like, "You gonna get this money? You gonna take this money?" So that's the guy. He does movies. He does acting and things too. He was in Barbershop. So I got his name, and I would always be teased. You know how it was. Light skin was always in, and the dark skin, they always looked at the dark skin people as the ugly people or whatever. So I was like, okay, since all these people are calling me dark and black and all this, I'm gonna just come up with the Choklit Jok, and that's how that started. Trey came in. Elroy, who was the boss at GCI, he said, let's come with, give me something else. Give me another, this is how he talks to, give me something less feminine. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. I had just watched Boys in the Hood. That's my favorite movie of all time. And I was like, Trey. He's like, that's it. And it went from there. So that's how Trey, the Choklit Jok, came into effect.
So what are some of your greatest career milestones that you achieved thus far?
Youngest morning man ever in Chicago. I was hired at 26 to do mornings. Most of your morning people are in their mid to late 30s. Man, hosting a Bud Billiken parade on WGN. Nationally, internationally seen. Countless artists that I talked to. Working on this cartoon now, Them Damn Rats. This used to be a soap opera that was on my show. We're developing that now for TV, and I had no idea how much work it takes and how long it takes. It takes like 9-10 months to do a 30-minute episode. I'm tripping on how long. I didn't know that. So when you're watching The Simpsons and like Family Guy, it takes like literally 9 to 10 months to do one episode. Working on that, man, and just, you know, touring in Chicago, doing the, you know, public school thing with the kids, and just trying to make my name known. Just trying to be the next Herb Kent, you know. And Herb Kent been doing radio in Chicago 50 years plus, so trying to get to that plateau, the Ramonski Love plateau. They've been doing radio for years, so I'm just trying to get to that. I'm a small little puppy right now, but I'm trying to stump with the big dogs.
So I know you mentioned you interviewed a lot of people over the years. What were some of your favorite interviews?
Favorite interviews, Barack Obama. I interviewed Barack a few times, 3 times. First before he ran for president, when he was the phenomenon, but he hadn't announced that he was running yet. Then while he was doing the campaign, and another time before then. But yeah, Barack, of course, we already know the historic thing with that. I've talked to so many celebrities, man. It's like now I don't even get starstruck, or it's like, you know, okay, we're talking to Usher today? Okay, cool, put him on. The most memorable interview, and everybody teases me about this, I will always be known as the man that hung up on Russell Simmons. I had an interview with Russell Simmons like a year and a half ago, and it was just a big misunderstanding. Like, I wanted to talk to Russell because that was at the time when that Don Imus thing happened, you know, with the nappy head, and they were blaming it on hip-hop, and, you know, everybody wanted to hear what Russell Simmons had to say, and I wanted to hear what Russell had to say too. But he called me, and I'm a grown man, and he, you know, kind of was talking to me like I was a little boy or whatever, and I took defense to that, and I hung up on him, but he ended up calling back. We finished the interview, we kept it moving, and we became good friends after that. So we kissed and made up. Yeah.
Well, I know sometimes you get on people on the radio and crack jokes kind of quick with it. Has anything you ever said come back to haunt you, like that person like, oh, I'm going to see you after your show or something like that?
No. If you listen to my show, it's nothing offensive. I mean, the things I say may be offensive, but I don't think you would take it personally. I don't, you know, I wouldn't talk to you and say, well, there have been a few situations to where I've had arguments with listeners, but it wasn't a situation where, yeah, I'm going to come meet that fool when he get off from. Nothing like that. Of course, we agree to disagree, you know. Right. You disagree with your mother, you disagree with your wife, your husband, or whatever. You fight about it. After that, you kiss and make up and keep it moving. So that's, I don't try to be offensive. I try to be informative and entertaining. I'm not with all of that shock jock, Howard Stern crap. I'm for you know, just relating to my people, my audience. You know, if someone has been offended before of something I've said, it's gonna happen. You know, I just take an arrogant, nonchalant pose to it and say you'll get over it and keep it moving. Simple. You're either gonna listen to me or love me, or not listen to me and hate me.